Hi, everybody. It's day 3 of the MCParks Expo. It's the final day of the MCParks Expo. We've got a couple final panels for you all. I hope you all enjoyed the keynote yesterday. I certainly had a good time. But yeah, we've got 2 more panels today, and then we also have a closing ceremony for the Expo, which is at 6 p.m., not 4 p.m. There's been some discrepancies on that. The Expo closing ceremony is at 6 p.m. Eastern. So come on down for that. But you're here right now for the Imagineering panel. And so I'm going to turn it over to Aaron, the Imagineering lead, yeah, it's his presentation. Aaron, take it away.
Okay. So, yeah, hi everyone. Just how are you all doing? I'll wait to see who's... Yeah, Adam says good. Good. Yeah, all good science. So, for those that don't know me, I'm Aaron, aka Aaruse, the Imagineering lead here. Down the line here, I have a few of the amazing build team who will be introducing themselves in just a moment. Basically, this panel that you're all here for right now, this is going to be a chance for us to showcase some of the projects we've been working on over the last few months, some of which you probably heard about during a certain keynote last night. I know a lot of you have been very excited the last few hours about everything we announced last night. So it's just going to be going over that, answering any questions you may have about what we do, what we've been doing, etc. Just to let you know, if you want to check out some progress photos for what we're talking about while we're chatting away about the projects, if you keep an eye on the Expo panel channel on Discord, Westcott is going to be our official panel photographer for the next however long, and he's just to be on hand to fly around and get some snazzy photos to share with you all. If you fancy seeing anything in particular, like a certain ride or anything that you want to see that we've been working on, just put a little shout out, and West will be on hand just to fly around and get a photo or two just to show you all. But for now, I have a lot of very talented people next to me. I feel like we should probably go down the line, introduce them, say hi to them. So, hi, Will.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Tired.
So casual.
so casual.
Okay.
So you are an Imagineer here.
Yes.
Do you fancy telling these people watching right now just a little bit about you and about what you've been doing on the server since you joined?
Yeah, I've been here for 2 years almost now, and I focus mainly on Disneyland, but I'm also just a jack of all trades. I've worked on all the parks, outlined, built, essentially everything and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear over your last several long tenures thingy of how much you had a part to play in all the projects on here. Out of interest, just because I'm going to ask this to everyone, what's your favorite project been that you've worked on since you've joined?
I'm a bit biased, but I like the Haunted Mansion. The one on Walt Disney World, because Disneyland one isn't done yet.
Well, almost, but yes.
Soon TM.
Soon TM. We will go into that a bit more in a minute as well. I know we have a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that we do want to show you all from all the stuff we have coming up. But for now, okay, why is there a duck?
Why would you expect there not to be a duck is the real answer.
Honestly, I don't know. I think this probably should have been expected.
The ducks helped us announce one of the biggest projects on the server. Why should they not get a spot?
It's with Paris.
You make a valid point. I mean, I think, have we talked about yet the ducks getting like a pay, because they do a lot for us and they're not really recognized as much? Like,
oh, okay, we don't need 2 ducks.
We give them.
Oh, I think we need.
We give them free housing.
I mean, do we? Because last time I checked, they were in cages. Or is that housing? Okay, guess it's a typo. Anyway, down the line, we now come to Mr. Brabley.
Hello.
AKA Sam.
Correct.
Sam is someone else who's been around here for quite a bit longer than I have. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, Sam?
Yeah, I'm like an old hat and a new hat. I joined originally back like very, very early days, like 2013, 2014 era. And then I rejoined back in April So yeah, I do mostly interior work, lots and lots of armor stand work. Did a bit in World Showcase. You can see it in the American Adventure in Japan. And now I've mostly focused on Disneyland work.
There we go. Just going to ask it to you as well before we move on. Favorite project?
Definitely Club 33. It's been a lot of fun to build something that's like super exclusive and isn't going to be able to be seen by everybody, but still has like an unbelievable amount of detail in it. So can't wait for that to open. I don't know if they announced that yet, but there it is.
Well, there it is, an exclusive right here, folks.
Oh, we've announced that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Time.
I do have to say, Club 33 is looking spectacular for anyone who
Has more than 5 frames. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not that bad. It's not that bad anymore.
Okay. Who is behind the duck there? Who is?
That's
that
Zach.
Is Zach in the duck?
Yo, what's good?
Hey, Zach. Hey.
How's it going?
How you doing? I mean, in your duck form, how about you now? Get the mic and say a little bit about what you've been doing.
Here, you can use my mic. Oh, never mind.
I'll put the duck away for now. He's on
Duck's
my shoulder.
going on the shoulder.
He's chilling on my shoulder. What's up? My name's Zach, Legend of Sif. I used to go by Zinda32, but I don't think a lot of you know who that is. But I work on a lot of stuff. Sometimes they don't get finished. Sometimes they do. Mainly because I spread myself out a lot. I love to work on different things. So I started a lot of projects, and we could finish them in the future. But also, I've been busy. Some things you may have seen from me. I was one of the main contributors to Tower of Terror, the Imagineering behind that, so the building. I do a lot of smaller details. I worked on Lime Garage. I like working on resorts. Over on Disneyland, I started the Disneyland Hotel. I worked on some of Fantasyland, and then the new Walt Disney Studios. So if you have early access, you can see my work over at the Chateau de Remy, which is the Ratatouille ride over. Yeah, over on WDS. And then also a project we announced a while ago, but it's been on halt indefinitely because, again, I got to find the time, is Flight of Passage. So that's also something. I'm one of the main guys who likes to do terraforming here because I have experience with voxel sniper. So once we get that up and running again, I'll be working on Flight of Passage, which shouldn't be too far away because I'm expecting a lot of free time in the future, but no set date for that just yet. But ultimately, yeah, that's what I work on. Oh, and new Aerial. I also work on Aerial.
It's quite a collection you have going there, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Out of all of those, I'm going to ask you as well. Favorite project?
You have to nod up and down to make it look like the duck is talking.
Oh yeah, if you don't do that, you're like off the planet.
Life is an ever-evolving process of things. So I think my favorite project is my life, but I'd think that my favorite project in the server maybe.
Oh no, okay.
I would say my favorite project on the server is Hong Kong Disneyland. I'm just kidding. We're not working on that. Favorite project on the server so far? I like Tower of Terror, but also I like terraforming, so I'd say Flight of Passage.
Why not Winter Dreams?
What's my dream?
No, Winter Dreams.
Oh yeah, I built Winter Dream too. I forgot about that. That's something small. I love creative stuff. So if you had the chance to go check out the Christmas event, and then also it reopened during the Christmas in July event, I built Winter Dream. So if you like that mountain resort, that was also me. I enjoyed building that.
Awesome. I cannot see
We
who
have
is behind
more.
the duck. Is it more?
More Wandy and West of the next three.
Because the duck is kind of blocking my view of all the IGNs right now.
Come in front over here. This is a spot up here.
Okay, we have a Moore. Hello, Moore.
Hello.
So for those of you that don't know Moore, you have probably seen a lot of very small details, particularly around Epcot and the like. If you have seen the Germany Pavilion in the new Epcot World Showcase, you've probably seen a lot of little clocks or shop pieces, and that all goes to Moore. Moore is our resident armor stand genius. He is the one behind most of the small details you see, along with Sam, along with Rill. So Moore, hi.
Yeah. Hi,
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Do you fancy saying a bit about? I mentioned a few there, but other things you've worked on since you joined the team?
Give it up for more, everyone. Woo!
Moore is a genius with armor stands and posing armor stands in ways that make them look like not armor stands. Like he can make any man-made object out of armor stands, even natural things out of armor stands.
If you look at, I think he did Buzz in the DLP trailer, didn't he?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. If you look at the DLP trailer and you find the Buzz Lightyear at the entrance to Toy Story Land, that's an example of his work. It's
We also come to Disney World, but it's a lot of work, so might be
eventually
longer.
Yeah, Moore is just he has a way with the small blocks. He knows what he's doing.
He's very good. Moore is one of my favorite Imagineers.
Yeah, no.
Thanks.
If anyone ever needs help with the small little details and know how to work the way around that, we all go to Moore. Moore is the resident trainer for that.
That's my job.
Moore, favorite project, favorite little ASD thing you've done or build.
Oh, I think I would say the Germany Pavilion. It was like the first time we really used a lot of armor stands. I think it's like 500 in the entire pavilion.
Yeah,
And it was really fun starting with that and just building it.
Germany was what inspired us to really go all out on armor stands.
Yeah, I think
I
Germany
like
was
armor
that kind
stands.
of.
I like armor stands. The biggest understatement ever coming from Moore.
No, it's safe to say Germany was that launch point, and it looks amazing. So, thank you all for that.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I'm leaking EK photos, and everyone's losing their minds over some of the lands that are in there.
We should probably go over that.
I mean, so should
Yeah,
we?
we'll go. I'm sure you have lots of questions about EK. We'll get to that later, but let's finish the introductions first.
Yeah, I was just gonna let's see, Wandy. Hello, you are next down the line.
Featured in the keynote presentation yesterday.
Yes, this is Wandy. Some of you will recognize him. He was in the video yesterday. He was in the keynote. I believe many of you know Wandy, based on the many shout outs. There it is. Many people know you anyway, but do you want to introduce yourself anyway for those who might not know?
Yeah. Well, hi. I am Wandy. I've been here for 2 years and a bit, like 2 years and a month or something like that. Something like interesting about me is that when I joined MCParks, I didn't even speak English. I don't know. So I learned English here. I've been working mainly on Tokyo Disneyland, but I've also worked on Disney Springs. I did some castles for Happily Ever After, and I don't know. I think that's it.
If you were at the GR panel yesterday, you heard a lot of them say that their favorite thing about the server was getting to meet people from all over the world. I think this is a really cool example of that.
Oh yeah, hi. Well, I would say I'm from Venezuela. I speak Spanish, and yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's one of the great things about the team we have here is that we do all come. You know, we're from around the world. We have a lot of different languages, a lot of different cultures and stuff, and we're all just working together on this thing. And I think that's kind of what makes this team so unique and great at the same time. But Wandy, I can't leave without asking the question I've asked everyone else. Out of everything you've done, what's your favorite thing?
I think that probably the Tokyo Disneyland Castle is my favorite.
I mean, I think rightfully so, because that thing does look amazing.
Well, yeah, it took me. The thing is that I thought it was impossible to do a castle. So when I started doing it, I was like really scared of doing it. And yeah, that's mainly why it's my favorite thing.
Nice one. So just to wrap up the introductions, I think we have a West down the end there as well.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Wes speaks for the first time all year. This is his once a year speaking gig.
Yeah, everyone should be very privileged right now. You should all feel very. This is the Wild Westcott. West is largely known on here for his amazing work with resort hotels over the years. He has developed a lot in the way of the Walt Disney World resorts that you can currently walk around and explore. But other than that, Wes, what else have you been working on? What else have you been doing here?
So, I work on kind of like a lot of projects here. I kind of bounce around a lot. But lately, Disneyland Paris and Tokyo Disneyland, as well as Disney Springs, the Disney Skyliner. Those are the big ones that I've been working on at Walt Disney World. Other than that, I also did all of the Remember Dreams Come True castles. So that was a lot of work, and I don't remember. It's almost like 50 castles. So that was a lot of work there as well.
Kicking it old school, West was the lead Imagineer on our Animal Kingdom back in 2016.
Yeah, a little known project.
I just also like how casually you just kind of drift over the 50 or so castles there for a show.
Yeah,
just 50. No biggie.
Yeah, and Wandy pointed it out as well that I had a thing going where I would do one castle every day when I logged on the server. So I would do that one castle, and then when I finished, I'd go work on something else.
That's a really good way to not get burnt out on them.
Yeah, that was the idea.
It takes 2 months. It takes 2 months, but it gets them done.
Exactly.
You didn't have a tight deadline on that one. It's not like yay.
That's actually been my plan for the boardwalk, Ryan. That's
one block a day.
Just a really long process,
Right. 1 room a day.
Yeah, one little just fly around just to scope out the area, then come back.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah. West, favorite project that you've ever done on MCParks?
I would say probably Animal Kingdom, just because I loved learning about all of the areas in the park, and it was really the first big project that I helped lead here, so it was really my favorite. And yes, I do like parking garages.
I mean, the parking garages had to have a little say there, didn't they?
Yes.
Lime or orange? The debate of the century.
It's a tough call, but I'm gonna probably say lime.
Oh,
yeah, let's go lime.
It's the wrong answer, West.
You got it right, Penguin, bro. We also see a little Josh on the end there. Josh, I know you've been introduced a few times already, but you want to say something? Or
Sure. Oh my god, the ducks are distracting. I'm Josh. I've been introduced about 3 times already to this weekend, but hi. I started MCParks as an Imagineer and got moved up to Imagineer Manager within the first year of the server. If you're here for the history panel, you'd know kind of the deal around that. Anyway, I've done a lot of stuff. I did a lot more building a few years ago. I've sort of moved on to basically everything else. I still build a little bit, but not much. But my big projects were like New Magic Kingdom. I did Pop Century. I did Polynesian. I do the roads. Everyone knows me as the person who spent countless hours recreating endless amounts of trees.
You did a dang good job, Josh.
That's what I'm known for on here now, is just spending hours placing trees. But yeah, my big thing was, or it still is, I like the parks feeling interconnected. Like, you don't just hop on and go to Magic Kingdom and then go to Epcot. Like, you can go to Magic Kingdom and you can take the monorail to Epcot and see everything. You're fully immersed in the world along the entire way, and that's sort of really cool to me.
Sweet. I mean, I think that is one of the main things we have going for us here that makes us so unique, is that everything is just so connected, and it really makes you feel like you can just kind of enter the world of these resorts and just stay there. You know, it feels less like a virtual world and more like something you can live almost.
Yeah.
So this is the team we have up here today. For those of you that don't know, we are the builders, the main build force behind the server. All the projects you see have been built by the Imagineers and Co. So Walt Disney World, Universal, Busch, and as of last night, Disneyland Paris and Dreamscapes, aka the first of the Explorers Kingdom. We've got the custom park there coming up as well. Both of those have been in development by this team for the last 4 to 5 months. So everything you see in this parks has been built by this incredible team in basically no time at all. This year alone, we've had most of New Disneyland built. We've had New World Showcase. All of that has been done by these guys up here and a few others that couldn't make it today, but you can see them at Warp Staff if you do want to check out the whole team. How do we want to talk about the project size? Do we want to do it from questions and what people want to see, or do we want to just talk about what we have going on? Or
I think, I mean, a lot of people are asking about kind of the philosophy behind the new Explorers Kingdom. So maybe you want to touch on.
Do you want me to kind of go through
yeah, if you do that though.
I do want to start out just by clarifying something about the status of, because we've seen a lot of, and maybe this is our fault for the way that we messaged it, especially on Twitter, but been getting questions of, oh, so are you now merging with Hyperion Parks? Are you partnering with Hyperion Parks? What's the deal there? Officially, not really. What just kind of happened was Hyperion closed a while back, and after they closed, a lot of their cast just started coming over here because we first talked to Aaron, and we were friends with Aaron before, Hyperion closed. We liked Aaron a lot. Yeah. And so when Aaron left Hyperion, he came over here. And then as more people started leaving Hyperion, he, persuaded them to come over here too, because it's pretty cool over here. And so over time, we just kind of like assimilated most of the relevant people from Hyperion. And so, after like a year afterwards, they started getting a little homesick of Hyperion. Like, oh, wasn't it great when we had Explorers Kingdom? Oh, wasn't it great when we had Disneyland Paris? It didn't help that in February I went to Disneyland Paris, and when I came back, I was also then all really gung-ho on that. And then, of course, lockdown happened. Everyone wanted something new. So, that's when we started to build Disneyland Paris, and we brought on the notion of the custom parks as well. So Disneyland Paris is 100% new, and none of it is like from Hyperion. It's all 100% brand new for MCParks. And
on the correct angle.
Yeah, on the correct angle. And our team has built it. Explorers Kingdom is similar. The concept remains, but none of the blocks are holdovers from Hyperion, and Darren's going to talk a little bit more about what the deal is with that.
Yeah, so I was shown the Explorers Kingdom map. It must have been late last year or so, and Aaron and I kind of walked through, and he was explaining everything to me, and we were talking about it, and we both kind of acknowledged that there was something here with this map, and there was something that we had discussed previously about kind of bringing these custom parks and like just other things onto the network, just to kind of help us diversify a little bit. And so the original idea was we were going to just bring back Discovery Corps, whoever of you would remember that. And that and Fjellthorpe are going to kind of be like the opening cast of parks for the Dreamscapes project. But I was shown Explorers Kingdom, and we kind of walked through, and we said, hey, there's something really cool here, and there's something that we can do about this. But the issue is we both felt that the park was very cluttered, and a couple of the Imagineers on here also walked through that didn't have any personal ties to the the server and the project and stuff, and so we walked them through, and the general consensus was there was just a lot of stuff in Explorers Kingdom, and you could tell that although it expanded through like a labor of love, there was just expansion everywhere. There was no clear-cut plan. And so while it's a years old map for Hyperion, this would be a opening park for Dreamscapes. And so we didn't want it to have that feel like it had been changed over time. Like we wanted it to feel like a new park. And so we kind of sat down and we said, what do we think the core elements of Explorers Kingdom are, and where do we think that we can improve on it? And the guiding principle was that we needed a story, right? And so the storyline of Explorers Kingdom is that through collaboration and sharing that those stories, explorers from all over the world have kind of gathered together to tell what they've learned from different areas and different cultures and different stories. And so Explorers Kingdom starts out in this area called Explorers Avenue. I won't go into like the lore of all the lands, but it starts out in kind of this very like hodgepodge land where there's different architecture styles kind of meshing together. And it's to kind of open you up to the idea that this was made by people who are very well versed in the world around them and are taking the best ideas and kind of the best the world has to offer and combining it together.
Think Port of Entry and Islands of Adventure, sort of.
Yes, exactly. And so using that as our guiding principle, we said, where do we see the largest differences in architecture, culture, and style? And so that was where we got to the drawing board of, how do we take some of the things from Explorers Kingdom, 1.0, and how do we push it forward? And in addition to that, we came up with another rule. We said we don't want to do full-on recreations of anything that exists in parks that we have or parks that we're going to do, which is where areas like Frozen and attractions like Ratatouille ended up getting cut, because we didn't want to have clones of one-to-one areas built in a custom park, because we felt like we would be limiting ourselves in a really weird way. So the rule is, if it exists in real life in a park that we're not doing currently or anytime soon, then it's fair game. But if it's something that's like coming up soon, like Ratatouille or Galaxy's Edge or something, we're going to steer clear of that because we don't want that confusion to exist. And so that's kind of where we started progressing forward with the park. We went through and we made a list of each of the lands. So we have New York, New Orleans, London, Egypt, Greece, and then Asia is kind of split up into a couple different areas, but it's just the overarching continent of Asia. Working title names is like Indian Jungle and then San Francisco. And so that's kind of the different collaborative areas of Explorers Kingdom. So yeah, that's kind of the background story on that.
Darren Surferboy wants to know if there's going to be any rides or attractions in Explorers Kingdom, or is it just walk around themed lands?
Should I just go through the list?
So, okay, Darren's going to mention some attraction concepts. It's worth noting that while we are vertically constructing some of these places, one of the benefits of building a theme park in the virtual world of Minecraft is we can be doing construction and also concepting at the same time, and then just rip out a building and change it if we want to change the concept. So everything is subject to change. But Darren, go ahead.
I wish Parker was here because we have like logos for some of this stuff.
We do have logos for some of this stuff.
So yeah, everything's going to have custom audio and ride scores, and some attractions are going to be wilder than others. And that's, so I guess me saying this here is kind of the promise that this is going to happen. But for example, we're building a Muppets Detective ride, and so that's going to require us to acquire voice actors who can do Muppet impressions for stuff like the audio server. And then here's another one that I'm going to kind of trap us into. Misfortune Manor is a musical ride similar to Mystic Manor, except Misfortune Manor follows, per namesake, not just misfortune, but Miss Fortune. It follows the story of a young storyteller known as Lady Leota, which, as many of you may know from the Haunted Mansion, we went back and we looked into the lore and the backstory of Madame Leota, and we kind of built an attraction around that. And so that's a couple of the big rides, I guess. And we also have the Atlantis boat ride similar to the Shanghai version of Pirates. There's a Big Hero 6 coaster similar to Space Mountain. There's an Indiana Jones attraction, a Jungle Book attraction, a whole bunch of cool attractions like that.
Yeah.
Do any of the present Imagineers want to talk a little bit more about something specifically that they're working on and kind of share stuff?
I know Real and stuff had a brief thing yesterday from the work going on in New Orleans Square. I don't know if like you and Sam and stuff wanted to maybe chat a bit about the work going on in UDL. I know a lot of people are excited for that.
Sure. If we could get cameraman West over to New
Yeah,
Orleans.
where's our photographer? Where is he at?
It's right there. He's going.
As he disappears from the stage. I love how you can just travel from Universal to Disneyland. Like, if this was a real life panel, be like, yeah, go from Universal Orlando over to Disneyland to New Orleans Square and get some pictures for us and send them back.
It's like the Christmas parade where they switch between coasts all the time.
Yeah. It's also funny, in Keynote yesterday, Melody went from Magic Kingdom's train station to New Orleans Square in about a half a second.
That's just a bit of, Disney magic. Just there's a little bit of that going on.
While we're waiting, I'll answer a couple questions that I see. Let's see. How we plan on building a ride like Forbidden Journey? Think Spider-Man, how we teleport you off-site so you make the sets larger to kind of do the smaller sets more justice. That's how you can expect Forbidden Journey. Will the Avengers section of Disneyland Paris be open in Phase 1? That is dependent on the construction timeline, both in real life and for us. Given how far along we are on Walt Disney Studios, probably not. I have a feeling we'll want to open things in Walt Disney Studios before that gets done.
I think there's a chance of building slightly quicker than they do in real life over in Paris, but
maybe, yeah.
But the plan for especially for Paris, really, as a building is because obviously there's a lot of stuff going on right now with the studios. But as stuff is built and opened in Walt Disney Studios, we will aim to get it done like as soon as possible. Like I know personally, at least, I'm definitely keen on getting the base of the Avengers campus built as it goes vertical in real life. So look out for some cool little construction bits through walls anyway.
Cool. All right, West and Real, you guys ready?
I'm ready. Is West ready?
There you go. West is starting to paste some pictures in.
Yeah, he's on site.
So that
Wow, he got over to the other side of the country real quick.
supersonic jet.
Anyway,
As you
continue.
just Blue Bayou, which has some work done by Bradley and Aaruse, who's not here. But Reese is also here. He just can't talk.
I mean, we can unmute Reese if we want Reese to talk. I don't know if Reese wants to be unmuted.
He should be good.
He has to unmute himself. Now he has permission to unmute.
If he even wants to.
Brad, would you like to talk more about what you've done in New Orleans Square?
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
I've been mostly focused on like the interior works, so a few of the shops here and there, and again, like I said, Club 33. Most of the exterior work was done by an Imagineer who's not here today named Luis. He's really got like an excellent build style. I feel like New Orleans is kind of the king of little details in Disneyland, and he's definitely reflected that in the build. So
I have something.
Hey, it's Reese.
Hello. My name is Reese. I'm a little bit of a legend around here, I guess.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I mean, he's not wrong.
You get on
He
mute
is,
for 5 seconds, and that's what you
not
decide to
legend
say.
as in I'm not around anymore, like a legend, that sort of thing.
still
Oh,
hired.
okay, got it. Not like a legendary person, but like a
Well, I mean, I have
man
been around
of
for a
legend.
while, but anyways.
Yes.
So my
That's how ours
was
starts
building
talking.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean, what?
Pirates of the Caribbean. The interior. had a lot of fun with that because yeah, there's a lot of details I went through. Yeah, yeah. I built it with Real. I built it with Luis, and a couple other people, and I think y'all will really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
What were some of the challenges? This is just for like the general team, I guess, of not just building Haunted Mansion Holiday, but we're retrofitting Haunted Mansion Holiday into the scenes of Haunted Mansion. So we're not building two completely different rides. What were some like the organizational challenges in doing that?
Do we want to show off some pictures of Haunted Mansion Holiday? Or do
Go
we
for
want
it. Yeah, no, definitely show some stuff off.
Go ahead, West.
Yeah, it's announced now, so show off all you want.
If Sam can get in there with the frames.
Hey, it's not that bad anymore.
Yeah.
So anyway, the idea...
No, go ahead. I just wanted to clarify because Josh keeps saying all these things about the frames. I feel like we shouldn't be just going around saying this without clarifying, but it's fine. Go ahead.
Anyway, the idea with Haunted Mansion Holiday was that it has to be an overlay, much like it is in real life, something we can turn off or on relatively quickly. So what we went through and did first was design and build the Haunted Mansion, and then save that, put it somewhere else, go through, delete a bunch of stuff, and then start on Haunted Mansion Holiday as it currently exists right now. And here comes West with some pictures with some detail work done by myself and Bradley on the outside, and then Moore's wonderful large hearse that he made out front.
The idea for Holiday and Normal is that eventually, hopefully, everything can be automated to the point where we run a command and everything just sort of switches, and it makes it a lot easier because we don't have to build them every year.
Yeah, so barring how well this works, there's potential that Haunted Mansion Holiday could be an every year seasonal event. Or like if we ever do another like Christmas in July event, we could turn it on to Haunted Mansion Holiday for like a day or so.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the work on the inside has been through custom textures. Most of the presents that you will see in the attraction are 100% designed by us, custom textures, I mean, based off the real things and such, but they're not like general heads that we've taken from a website or something.
Yeah, these are all player heads. It's not like resource pack items or not resource pack block changes, but a lot of these, we had our pixel art team make custom player heads that we then placed into it, which gives it a bit more of a personal touch.
Yeah, and I know that's something we've talked about a lot more recently is making sure that we do go in through and not have just generic heads everywhere. We've talked about that a bit with Pirates, with actually going through and having the pixel artists look at each of the individual animatronics in real life and have custom heads for each one of those, rather than just using generic heads like we used to in the past.
Rill and Bradley, both of you have been building in Minecraft for a considerable amount of time, and obviously what technology is made available to you has also changed pretty drastically. I'm sure in some respects it's easier to recreate something faithfully to how it exists in real life with this additional technology, but I'm sure it's also a little bit more difficult in the sense that you feel more pressure to make it more accurate because of how many more tools that there are. And despite that pressure, there's like performance considerations to think about when going too far into certain categories. So like how is that something that you have on your mind when you're building?
It's a bit of like a cost benefit analysis for each one of the little details of, how much is this actually going to be noticed by a guest, and is it a foreground detail versus a background detail? So we talk a lot about like the performance problems that we get from armor stands, and it's just from a matter of that being a lot of entities for any one player to load. We do have a tool that we use called Frozen Sands, which allows us to essentially set a radius for how close a guest has to be to an armor stand in order to be able to see it. That helps a lot with performance. But if you look at the photo that Darren just put in, I won't describe it too much in detail because it is marked as a spoiler. But the vast majority of what you're seeing there is all individual armor stands. So each one of those little blocks, that's an individual armor stand with a head on it. So because of that, it's a huge performance drag. There can be some frame issues, like with what Josh talked about in the past. But again, it's just a matter of balancing between it. And like Ryan was saying, it's absolutely a huge consideration for us. Of, you know, it's not that, I guess, our current standards for good enough are the same as our past standards for good enough, and that we do have that drive to get in those little details.
Yeah, when it was being constructed on Mansion Holiday, there was a lot of issues with frame rate because none of the armor stands had been optimized yet, and so it was sort of a running joke for a couple of weeks about how you couldn't go near Haunted Mansion without your frames dropping. It's been mostly fixed now. You can
Sorry to those of you with Disneyland Early Access who have tried to go over to
you can move by Haunted Mansion now without your frames absolutely tanking. But I bring it up because it's just sort of like a joke that we've had going for a couple of weeks.
Fun fact about the Haunted Mansion trailer that we released.
Don't give it away.
Spoilers.
Oh, go to the Parks Experience panel for that, I guess.
Oh, actually, no, never mind. I think you're going to say something different. I thought you were going to expose the ruse.
Oh, yeah, I was going to.
Okay, no, don't expose the ruse.
People are going to figure it out now. Now that they're going to go back and watch it again.
Well, I think it's kind of... It should be easy to figure out now that I've said that.
Oh, it's super easy to figure out.
I think it's really easy to figure it out.
Not gonna lie, I thought this was about Obama. I thought that was going in a completely different direction.
No.
I thought this was about Obama. I think you need to clarify that comment now.
Yeah, for in Disneyland at the the Lincoln attraction, there's a photo of Obama there, and for placeholders in the Haunted Mansion attic for where the portraits of the husbands are, we had Obama photos for a couple weeks. Just as a way of measuring around it when we're placing in armor stands, and that's become a bit of a running joke. So
even in the expo hall before we had the changing portraits set up, they were pictures of Obama.
To be fair, I thought we were keeping them there. I actually thought that was just a mere thing. I didn't even realize we were changing them out.
It's the new Lang pads. You always have to have them in your inventory at all times, just in case the situation arises.
I mean, I'm down for that. I think that's something we should do. Is that kind of everything from New DL, do you think? From New Orleans Square?
I think that's a good taste.
Yeah.
Started a bit of work on Splash Mountain. I know that's a big question that people have, is whether or not we're going to go through a Splash Mountain with the Princess and the Frog refresh coming, maybe sometime in the future, but we are going to go ahead with Splash.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering the time frames Disney usually has on construction projects. We usually try to get things built as they are in real life. If something's open right now, even if it's announced that it'll be closed, especially about a time frame, we'll make sure it's open. People enjoy coming on and seeing the attractions they know and love. Even if they are closed, for example, Heimlich's Choo Choo Train, a Sir of the Wide favorite, which somehow obviously that whole Bugs Land area will eventually close for the Rise of Avengers campus, but until it opens in real life, we like keeping these things around just for more fan service more than anything.
I saw a couple comments on the keynote yesterday that we didn't show off Critter Country. I mean, Critter Country is coming. It's just not in a state where we wanted to show it off yesterday. But obviously,
it is getting there.
Critter Country, Tomorrowland, all of Disneyland is coming eventually.
Eventually. Now, if our last few months have been anything to go by, I think you guys can expect a lot more coming up soon, as well as everything we've announced. I don't think it'll be too long before we see a completed New Disneyland. I
have a question from the chat, Aaron.
Oh, okay.
You want to talk about your plans for Busch Gardens Tampa? What's going on over there?
Yeah, Busch BGT has been a little bit neglected by us for a while, it's safe to say. Obviously, we've had all the new projects come in, a lot of excitement for all these new Disney parks, etc. But Busch Gardens is something that I know a lot of people are quite nostalgic for. You know, they like the park, they really want to see it upgraded. So we do have a couple of the team, especially, who are very on board with upgrading the park. We've got some new models going on, some ride refurbs. You know, getting BGT looking a little bit more up to scratch to the standard we've set across all of our newer parks. I know now that we've announced a lot with the expo this weekend. There's a few areas I'd like to see particularly redone just to get the park looking good for everyone, and slowly but surely work our way around and refurb it. So it's looking as best as it can for you guys.
If you head over there now, the area by Shikra and Cheetah Hunt is all brand new. That was done by Reese a couple of weeks ago.
Garretron, we keep our parks up to date with the open attractions in real life. So once Avengers Campus opens, we will be closing our Bugs Land to make Avengers Campus, because that's what we do. That's not new information, though. We've said that, constantly.
Just a couple of questions. I do want to move on to Tokyo in just a second, because I know a lot of people are very excited for Tokyo finally to have a release date. But just a couple more questions. Let me see from chat a minute.
Time window.
Yes, time window.
Hold on, but actually, before you do that, one more Busch Gardens question. Rylan wants to know if there's going to be texture packs for rides. Yeah, so all of our attractions that we refresh have custom ride vehicles. So yeah.
And for the rest, will you add on to the park? Is that for BGT? It looks like it.
Yeah. Once we refresh some of the current areas, we might think about adding on to the parts of the park that we haven't gotten around to building. Sorry, now you can continue with Tokyo.
Oh yeah. So I'm definitely going to bring in Huandi for this one if he wants to, because I know Huandi and Dries, the two of them in particular, have been very keen to get Tokyo moving. It's been many years now since Tokyo was first announced on here, way back when, and since then it's kind of been it's been progressing. It's been changing over time, and thanks to Huandi and Dries in particular, and Wes recently with all his work with interiors and stuff over in TDS, we finally got it looking ready to release to you guys. We've got the starts of TDL, we've got World Bazaar and the Hub, we've got some amazing lands in Tokyo Disney Sea ready for you guys. And it's great to really see that project kind of wrap up now and get to that first phase standard. Huandi, do you want to maybe talk a little bit about what that project meant to you? Because I know it meant a lot to get it looking good, and just how you've gone about getting the park looking good. Upgrading the areas that have been there for a while and putting it up to scratch.
Yeah. So mainly, as Aaron said, TDL has been a project for a while, almost 4 years or something like that.
Over 4 years.
Over 4 years, yeah. And back then a lot of the Google Earth resources weren't that good, and time has passed, and builds were getting a bit old, and also we had to redo the entrance, cause in real life they got a new entrance. So I've been working on this for 2 years, and I've tried to put a lot of detail in it, and I thought that as the entrance was really kind of old, we had to give it a bit of love to it. So a fact is that we actually destroy it all and build it all again, and I think that is looking really, really good now. And yeah, I think that this is the finishing of 2 years, because I was hired here because I was for working at TDL, and yeah, it means a lot for me, and I feel that I put a lot of effort in it with Trees and Westcott for all of you to enjoy it.
I mean, I think something you said there in particular is actually very evident in that when these projects have been, we work on these projects for a long time, and you kind of do become very attached with them. You know, you put a lot into them, and we love seeing them come together. We love seeing them open, and we really love seeing you guys finally get to explore them and, you know, see what we've done. So particularly for Hwandi with the Tokyo project, he's been at it for a long time now, so I know it's probably a great relief for him to finally see this place get an opening time frame and let the guests into it.
I mean, yeah, it's mainly that. As I said on the keynote, I recommend you to look at everything. We put a lot of effort in it, and as Aaron said, I've been working this for 2 years, and now it's like a relief knowing that you are now going to be able to finally go into it, because you know we are here. We build for you guys, because if it wasn't for you, we will just be like in a private world. So yeah.
I mean, I think one thing we're all aware of is that the guests are kind of like, you guys listening are the reason we do this. If it wasn't for you all being here, we would literally just be building creative worlds and probably you know, enjoying it, but probably getting bored after a certain while. So it's your reactions, it's you all being able to explore and see what we've done and all the magic that I can create. That's what we do it for. You guys all out there. Speaking of you guys, I know we talked about a lot of projects here. Is there anything in particular that you guys kind of want to see or hear about from this that we haven't mentioned? I know West is still flying about somewhere, getting photos for everyone. But is anyone any particular attraction or project that people haven't heard about or kind of want to know about?
Rise of the Resistance teasers, please.
Rise of the Resistance.
Test track.
Oh, a bomb was last night. That's a good question.
I think that the test track video that we showed has like pretty good samplings of everything in there. Unless there's something specific from test track that person wants to see. As far as Rise of the Resistance is concerned, we can upload some pictures, maybe under the spoiler tags, just because we're trying to be cognizant of people who haven't gotten a chance to ride that one yet in real life.
I think
Surfer Boy, Flight of Passage, like I told you with Forbidden Journey, we teleport you off site, and same thing for Soarin', where we build the massive sets off site. Someone wants to get a picture of Flight of Passage to throw in there of the sets. We're going to teleport you off site and move you through the scenes. I don't think we have anything to show Halloween Horror Nights related today, unfortunately. We're not currently working on Mission Space.
Although I can assure you, Ethan, that Mission Space is something I am very eager to get going. So expect to see it at some point.
Really? A rare Mission Space fan.
I actually really like it, mostly because whenever I go on, usually the person I'm with or people I'm with get very sick, and it's very funny. So, but I had a bit of a soft spot for that.
Well, to each their own, I guess.
Yeah, to each their own.
Laughing at other people's pain. I see how it is.
You know how it is. All-Star Resorts. So I believe I should know this, considering I built them. Music is about half done. Sports is pretty much complete. So sports is open for anyone who wants to run down there and have a fly around. And then there's movies on the end. Not much has been done there recently, but I know I will hopefully get back down there at some point, he says, with a few hotels on the backlog.
Still waiting for Crescent Lake, Aaron.
Hello, Crescent Lake. Yes, hello.
That you just started redoing and then abandoned.
Yeah, like Ethan Yacht and Beach.
There were reasons.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mr. Frank Mexico's done Imagineering-wise.
Yeah, for both Mexico and Buzz Lightyear, both things are kind of techie things waiting on. So we'll announce more about that at a future date. Any opening dates, by the way, that weren't announced at the keynote or before then, Usually, it will be because we haven't kind of got to a point yet where we're ready to announce an opening date, just because we don't want to say something and then have it be terribly wrong.
It
so listen out
happens.
for any of that.
It happens a little too often. and in
No,
fact, we
Surfer
were-
Boy Flight of Passage will not be on the track. That's just reference material so the builders know where the track is.
It happens with art of animation, especially, but we say, oh, we're going to open this area on this date, and we're assuming that progress is going to continue for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever long it is, at the same pace that it has been. And then suddenly somebody gets 3 essays from school and they're off for 2 weeks, right? And progress just halts. And suddenly we're down to about a week and we have nowhere near a completed area and we're supposed to be opening it. It happens a lot. We have internal guidelines of where we want to go, and things just get derailed a lot because obviously this is a volunteer position. People get busy in real life. So just for our own sanity and not having to constantly be pushing back dates and stuff, we don't announce a date until we're absolutely sure we're going to be able to hit it.
Yeah, so anything that hasn't been announced, just kind of presume it'll be come through at some point. For those who did ask about that, but if anyone didn't catch the keynote last night and wants certain updates on certain things, make sure you have a watch. We talked about a lot, so make sure you have a quick watch through that. Any updates on Blizzard Beach? Yeah,
Man was working on it a little bit, but
yeah, we've had some updates actually. We did have some progress on particularly the entrance area around Blizzard Beach. A lot of the park is kind of vertical, but I know we do want to go around and update some of it because again, the origins of Blizzard Beach are quite old again. But it is something we do want to get complete. Obviously, the aim for all of us is to have, fully completed resorts of everything we're working on. So everything in Walt Disney World will eventually be open and complete and rideable. That is the aim. So look out for more updates on the water parks, particularly. Yeah, same for Typhoon Lagoon, Ethan. Hopefully, we'll have some more news on them soon, along with the other areas of Disney Springs. I know quite a few people are excited for that.
I saw someone ask about rentable hotel rooms. Eventually, it's not really an Imagineering thing. It's more of a Ryan.
Yeah,
needs
I'm
to
just straight up
develop this thing, and
ignoring
he's-
non-Imagineering questions.
Yeah. There's a bunch of, All-Star we talked about earlier. Sports is basically done. Music is half done, and movies is basically not much there.
Not much there.
All of the Skyliner track has been built, yeah. And we're working on building the areas below the Skyliner because we don't want people to be riding the Skyliner and to see empty tracts of land. So,
Honestly, I think Skyliner might be one of my favorite things that we have coming up. I don't know, I was just awesome seeing so massive sprawls of just landscape land around this resort being done. It makes it feel like the Disney World resort is so close to being complete now on here. You guys are going to love flying about on that thing.
I believe Jurassic Park River Adventure is done Imagineering-wise. I don't think we have anything to show.
As well,
Yeah, Jungle Cruise is most certainly done Imagineering-wise. We don't have any Forbidden Journey photos to show today. I don't think we really have started that in earnest. Chris wants to know how we figure out where to place things in their exact location around the parks. Which Imagineer would like to answer that?
Real's really good at outlining.
Can vouch for that.
Real, why don't you tell us a little bit about outlining?
Outlining.
Really, you want to fill that one?
Yeah, got it. Okay. So outlining is a process where we find a point using Google Earth with the link Phil Our Magic posted in the Expo discussion. So you measure it out in Google Earth, you find your first point, you plug in the distance and coordinates it spits out on the Google Earth measuring tool, and then you plug that into our tool with a relative coordinate. It's like we outline Disneyland relative everything to the flagpole, and then we use our little fancy tool to spit out Minecraft coordinates. So it finds it relative to where the flagpole is. So say Main Street is 100 blocks long down to the castle. It tells you that. and it tells you where to place the outlines. See, like, look what West is posting right now. Those are examples of what the outlining tool is useful for.
Essentially, we get coordinates with a bunch of points, and then we basically play a game of connect the dots to make outlines.
Yes, it is our own outline tool.
Actually, just springing off of that, because I know last night during the or yesterday during the applications panel, I keep saying last night. I know it was last night for me, probably late morning for most of you. But yesterday during the applications panel, it was kind of brought up of, do we have to know one-to-one to apply for Imagineer? What I wanted to say at the time, but couldn't, is no, you don't, because while our recreations obviously use this marking tool and using one-for-one, we also now have custom parks. We do have Dreamscapes. Dreamscapes are a thing. So one-to-one isn't necessary for Imagineer apps anymore. If you don't know it, you don't need to know it, because we will find a place for you on our Dreamscapes. Just wanted to mention that one quickly, because yeah.
It certainly wouldn't hurt your chances, though, if you knew how to do that.
Every little helps, definitely. And as I think I mentioned last night as well, all these things that we kind of do as Imagineers, the marking out, the world edit, AST, armor stand tools with more in his lessons, that's all stuff we can kind of teach you. That's stuff we enjoy teaching you. We like sharing the skills we have with new EMEs and kind of sharing our craft, as you will.
Yeah, I said at the application panel yesterday, but if you come onto the Imagineering team, you'll spend a while just building with other people and around other people, and you'll quickly pick up kind of what we do and what we don't do and how we like to do things. So even if your style doesn't exactly match ours now, you'll quickly pick up sort of how we go about things.
Jose, I think the question of what restaurants are going to be operationally open when we open certain areas is not really an Imagineering question, just because that's not really something that they focus on in their job, that is build the things. What's the hardest ride that you guys have had to build? What's been the most difficult thing for you? That's what Mr. Frank Plays wants to know.
Well, I can say that I haven't built a whole ride, but I did It's a Small World here on Tokyo Disneyland 2, and that was pretty hard because it has a lot of details and no pictures at all on internet. So yeah, that for me that was one of the hardest rides I've ever done.
Yeah, to be fair, I think for most of the team, it would probably come down to a particularly tricky interior.
Railway was particularly challenging, just style-wise, because it's so cartoony compared to a lot of real things.
Real, did you work at all on the Fantasyland dark rides in Disneyland?
No, that was all Jam Man.
That was Jam Man? Yeah.
Oh, I wish Jam was here for that conversation.
We mentioned, yeah, so the I guess I'll talk for Jam Man a little bit. But so those attractions, there's several attractions in one building, and the walls in real life are just little bits of plywood that kind of, are probably 6 inches thick, if that. Yeah. And so it's real difficult when you have blocks that are a meter thick to fit everything into those buildings. We spent a lot of time. Aaron, do you have any other memories of fitting all those things in?
Code. Prime example is Mr. Code.
Do any of those memories really want to resurface?
Fair enough. Surfer Boy Runaway Railway is on site. Anyone else want to share a memory of a difficult attraction to build?
Haunted Mansion Holiday has been a labor of love, but nonetheless a huge labor.
It's a labor of love, but you could take off of love, and the statement is still true.
Holiday has allowed me to justify the purchase of a brand new computer, so I'll say that.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
We're not subsidizing that.
That's all personal funds.
Yeah.
I would say for me, it was Kilimanjaro Safaris, because that ride is just a huge expanse. Like, it itself is the size of the Magic Kingdom. So that was just a huge undertaking right there. And
Landscaping's tough.
Yes.
I see. What's the hardest castle you've had to build. Paris.
Man, that
Yeah.
angle being so close to 45 yet not being 45.
Yeah, there's all of Paris being so close to 45, but not.
The problem with Paris's castle is that so many people had design input they wanted on it, and it just sort of it became a bit of a mess of everyone trying to get their input heard. And I don't know what it was about Paris particularly. I guess it's because it's the one castle, like Disneyland, Magic Kingdom, they were all built years ago. It's like the newest castle, but man, everyone wanted a piece of that pie.
I mean, it's Paris, so kind of what you expected, I guess.
We don't have Hong Kong Disneyland.
Yeah,
Mr. Frank.
newest castle for us.
Just to answer the hardest build question for someone who isn't here right now, but I know a couple people in particular found Indy particularly difficult. Indiana Jones has definitely been a labor of meticulous labor and love for many of the team. Oh, hey Melody. Yeah, there she is. So Witty Black Melody, she had a big part to play in the construction of Indiana Jones, which is why when you guys go through it, when it does open, you will see that it is very, very well detailed. Pretty much every possible detail you can think of is in that thing, and that's just another example of, when we on this team, we do attach ourselves to certain projects, we do end up, really, really attached, giving the best experience possible for certain areas. And I think Indy is definitely a great example of that, which was particularly difficult for many reasons, but also definitely paid off in the end. Like, it looks incredible.
Indy is the reason Melody's name is blue instead of yellow. Because that's where Indy was where we started. We started doing pixel art, and then that became a whole department. And then Melody moved from Imagineering to pixel art.
And now the server is full of amazing pixel arts, and we will never look back. Does anyone else have any questions or things they want to see? I know there's a couple of things keep popping up in... didn't want to build, but because of how prominent it is, you did it anyway.
The interiors of new Hollywood studios was like pulling teeth trying to get people to build those, and I ended up doing most of them myself.
More flashbacks.
Most of them, but like a lot
Basically,
of them.
interiors. Period. I mean, interiors on New World Showcase were a little sketchy towards the end.
Yeah, Brad got really good at AST, and suddenly he's not doing the Japanese interior anymore.
It's like 90% done,
Rip.
but it's very, very, very difficult to find reference material for shops is the other thing too. Like, anybody can find a POV for a roller coaster or something like that. Not a lot of people walk through Disney with their camera out taking photos.
People that
things in
do, like the people that give like shop tours, they like really just zoom in on the merchandise and they pick out something off the shelf, and we're like, I don't care what the merchandise is. Show me like the room.
There's only so much.
I don't even get
me
finding restrooms. Yes.
Don't even get me started on finding pixel restrooms. Yep. Well, that's
getting the measurements for restrooms is pretty difficult too.
Enchanted Tiki Room's not very difficult Imagineering wise because it's just a room.
Yeah, that would be difficult for the technicians, but as far as Imagineering, it's kind of just like a bunch of wood.
Here's a great question from King Shepherd. What's kind of the order that you go into when you're building, a park? How do you get from blank land to a building in the park? What's sort of the order that all that stuff gets done
This
in?
is kind of changed recently too, because we used to do outline and then we would just build it up. But now part of the outlining process is height mapping and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, Aaron might be a good one to talk about this.
Yeah. So when it comes to going vertical on things that we've marked out, one of the things we definitely try to get right is how things like look as an area. And we found usually when you build things straight up from just a general outline, it's sometimes tough to get certain structures looking right in like conjunction to other things. And so if you kind of height map the entire area in wool, like make a shell of the facade, like certain details and certain bits of wool, just to get a general feel for how an area looks, it's then so much easier to then just replace all of that with the actual stuff you want and to get it looking like really good. It kind of like nail the accuracy side of things. So yeah, we kind of mark it out one-to-one using the tool. We make shells with wool, and then just kind of building by building, just go for it and make it real.
Here's an example from Paris of a height mapped building. It's just sort of, it gets you the idea of how it's going to look, and if it doesn't feel right in the park, it's easy to change, as opposed to the buildings you see on the left over there, which are all completely detailed. Those were all height mapped first, and then we're like, yeah, this looks right, this looks good, and then went on to detail them. Which
saves a lot of time as well. If
neither really, neither Walt Disney Worlds nor Disneylands were particularly harder or easier to build than the others. Paris is, I mean, friggin' Riley did all of Paris's, so I can't touch on that, but I imagine it was more difficult than Walt Disney World or Disneyland's.
Just because of the angle. The blessing of DL and Walt Disney World is that they are straight, whereas Paris is not.
Well, you know that, and talking about like Main Street in TDL, where Bazaar, that is like the same thing. It is on angle, and it also has this roof, this glass roof.
Yeah.
So we had no way to outline the stores. So, well, I'm not good at interiors, so Dries, I don't know how to pronounce that. He had to try to kind of outline each shot, like each facade, and it was so hard too.
I think Tokyo in particular is a very good example of not the stresses, but the difficulties we can have as a team sometimes of finding references to build what we need to. Tokyo is a very underdocumented park, particularly for us. I feel like probably like in Japanese servers and stuff, it's probably much more documented but for us, finding things more easily like we would for, Orlando or California, it's much more difficult to find particular things. So that's usually much more of an effort on our part to make sure it's looking exactly like it should by scouring the internet, trying to find what we need to.
Yeah, with the technique of translating our Google searches into Japanese to see if they deliver more results, and it does. It's still, even so, less documented than say Walt Disney World is, but yeah, we go to some pretty great heights.
The main thing with Tokyo Disneyland is that it is not run by Disney, so things are quite different there. For example, like they haven't allowed Street View to get in the park, so that is a big thing that we do not have there. Or yeah, the Japanese thing, and that is also a park that was made mostly for Japanese. I mean, it is in Japan, so yeah, and Japanese people has this obsession with food that they go everywhere and they just take pictures of food. And when you look for a place, what you will see is just pictures of food and not picture from the actual place. So yeah, I've tried to in the system that we use that is Trello, that is for like getting to know everything that we've done. I've tried to put all the names in Japanese so everyone who builds the thing kind of knows, has a better way to look for the pictures. But even as I think that it was Josh and Aaron were saying, even with the Japanese names is kind of hard sometimes.
Question here, if you're an Imagineer working on a Disney park, do you also work on Universal, or does everyone only work on specific parks?
kind of work on whatever you want to work on. I think that's really the nice thing. Having worked on other, Minecraft Disney servers in the past, that's the nice thing about MC Parks is whatever you have your heart set on, you can go and work on.
Yeah, it can be in the moment as well. Like, I know I'm particularly one to speak for this when every day usually will be something different. Like we don't keep people to certain projects. We just go around whatever people feel like doing in that moment. We jump to it, which is kind of how we managed to get so much going on at the same time because so many parks are in progress at the same time, which is awesome.
You had a strategy where every day you'd spend, was it a day focusing on a different property? Like it would be a day on Paris and a day on Disneyland or something?
I know I tried that at one point to try to have one day on each thing.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people that only work like Rill primarily works on Disneyland. Like he's moved around a little bit, right? But like there's people who really like working on one park, and so they work on one park.
Yeah.
Who like to work on all parks, and so they work on all parks.
Yeah,
like it's literally down to whoever it is.
It's not something that we set. It's something that the individual sets for themselves.
Real, were you about to say something then? I think you may have just.
No.
I think you're just agreeing with the point I
Operational questions like when will blank open are not Imagineering questions. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, this is basically
I wish we knew.
The placing of blocks, and at this point, the placing of armor sand sometimes.
Hey, the role has expanded.
Usually stuff doesn't open until tech work's been done, which is done pretty far after Imagineering work is finished. So
yeah, it's very rare that a tech can work on a project that's not completed Imagineering wise. So the techs are kind of the last line between closed and open.
Here's a good question. What are some suggestions to those who are trying to get better at building and aspire to be able to recreate parks and designs as you guys do?
Don't use wool on all of your buildings. That's the one tip that Darren shared with me that I still remember.
Aiden asks if before the tech department existed, did Imagineers do tech? Imagineers sometimes did some train card stuff, but mostly it was the guest relations team that was the ancestor of the technician department.
Darren, if you go back when the technician panel is uploaded and listen to it, Darren tells the story about Totally Tomorrowland Christmas, which he loves.
Oh, yes.
It's from the GR panel.
Oh, it's from the GR panel.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
That's
GR
what my
history.
favorite GR story was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that makes sense. You weren't even at the tech panel.
TravMax, the stuff for the quote-unquote Incredibles area, because it's not really an Incredibles area, it's just stickers on the walls. That wouldn't really be an Imagineering thing because the area's been built already.
Just a question there on the Tokyo Park thing. In terms of like how far out we build things, the idea is that anything in the resort property will be built. So that station will be, because I'm pretty sure it's inside the boundaries. But all that stuff is, it's quite cool to have people be able to explore as well. So we are aiming to get that stuff built as soon as we can.
I mean, Ethan, that's not a one-to-one scale model. That's a different scale model. So one-to-one in the case of Minecraft means that a block is a cubic meter. So you can use a different scale, but that's not one-to-one anymore. It's a different scale. And you can calculate the ratio for what that scale is. 2 feet would be about a two-thirds scale.
Being able to build to a scale is a great tool to have, though. Like, even if you're building 1 to 2, like, it shows you can follow outlines and stuff. But if you were to come on here, you'd have to get used to building 1 block is 1 meter.
Mr. Frank, we just started a new resort property. We're not really planning on any new ones at the moment.
Yeah, I think we have enough on our plate for now.
Thinking, Chef I don't know how to say that. Sorry. Asked about angles, and I think that we've already talked about that. But the thing that I want to say, he asked, like, do you enjoy building things on angles or more than a straight on? And I mean, when you have angles, it's pretty hard because the one-to-one idea gets a little bit different. Yeah, so for example, if something is, I don't know, 10 meters long in real life, when you get an angle, that those 10 meters get like a bit shorter and shorter. And when you get to like a 45 degrees angle, everything gets worse. So yeah, I think that most of us enjoy straight angles more than any other angle.
Yeah, the straighter the better.
Parker does not endorse this message.
So I heard you like making custom trees. Any tips on that? Actually, thanks to Parker again, mentioning him. He has tree farms on pretty much every server that we use. So I know
Parker endorses that message.
Yes, Parker endorses the trees. He is the
speaks
man
for
of
the
the trees. He does.
See the Lorax?
He is the Lorax. I mean, he basically
Is he? Is that a compliment?
I mean, wouldn't you want to be a little short orange guy with a great mustache?
Environmentalist, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to use the actual term, I mean, you know.
Right.
But he is responsible for the filling out of most of the trees on the server because I know I copy and paste a lot of his trees. I know some people on this panel might shut me down for that, but that is the case. But everything is kind of custom.
Landscaping in general is definitely a skill that few people are particularly interested in, but the ones who do it well do it really well.
Yeah. Basically, as long as you don't do /tree, it's good.
We've been going for almost an hour and a half now. Do we want to break so people can get lunch before the Parks Experience panel?
I need
that starts
to
soon, doesn't it?
get lunch before the Park Experience panel.
Yeah, I was mostly thinking of myself when I said that, but I'm sure other people probably also want to maybe get food.
Ryan is hungry.
So, any last questions?
Do you just want to add, actually, just on the question note, if anyone listening or anything does have any more questions about what we do, what's going on, about how they can join the team, my DMs are always open. Anyone can message me. Anything they might want to ask if they haven't had a chance today.
Join the ranks of Aaron's 446 Discord notifications.
It's just like
Yeah, actually, it's 470 now. I know it's going up.
Someone's asking if we would build concepted attractions that were never built on Dreamscapes. The whole server.
The beauty of Dreamscapes is we can do whatever we want.
We can do whatever we want. We haven't particularly planned that yet, but if we wanted to, yeah, we could.
Josh, you have to learn how to answer questions more nebulously.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
more
a
fun.
What does nebulously mean?
Mysterious, with an aura of ambiguousness, of ambiguity. Yeah,
I'm going to answer every question from this point onwards with maybe.
I mean, that's a little too nebulous.
Just every question, maybe.
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 We're replacing Josh with a soundboard that says maybe.
Oh, perfect.
Has Explorer's Kingdom been difficult regarding IRL references? Maybe.
Maybe.
Not particularly, just because it's so different.
This has got a lot easier. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. This is a lot easier.
What, just answering maybe to everything? Are you okay? Maybe.
Working on this? Maybe.
Alrighty, well, I think I
like
speak
working
for
together,
everyone. I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you to the Imagineers for all the amazing work that they do. And I'm really excited to see what the team does into the future.
A lot of awesome stuff.
Studio park in 4 months.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming to the Imagineering panel. We have just about half an hour until the Parks Experience panel. And then there'll be a brief little closing thing at 6 p.m. And then after the closing thing, I'm going to Chicken Guy. Anyone else is also welcome to come in if they're in the Orlando area. Darren, are you coming to Chicken Guy?
Maybe.
Okay, maybe.
That's a callback that wasn't intentional.
Yes, maybe it was. Darren, was that an intentional callback?
No,
There's only...
no.
Oh, I was gonna say there's only one answer to that question. You're supposed to say maybe again.
I thought this should be outro music. Wait, Ryan.
Sing it.
Ryan. You know what
That was
song
Aaron's
people want?
intro music.
You know what song people
What song
want?
people want?
The,
They want Fantasmic.
Fantastic.
no, the hotel song.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's all happening here.
Ooh,
There
that
we
too.
go. That's the outro music.